Listen to this amazing podcast this morning with this lady who healed her Parkinson's disease through a carnivore diet. Her name's Mimi Morgan. She was on Dr. Anthony Chafee's podcast, so I'm just here to share that information with you to go hear how amazing she is. She's 71 years old. She had other complications before, like she had a stroke. She said she's lucky to be alive. She barely would have made it. And that's what I love, listening to these stories about people with carnivore diet, because like Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's, cancer remissions, like people who are literally on the verge of like all they want to do is die because life is so miserable. These carnivore stories are amazing. And one of the things that is prevalent in all these diseases is mitochondria dysfunction. So it's just amazing how the carnivore diet can really saturate the cell with a lot of energy and allow these people to heal like decades of disease and illness like within such a short period of time. That's the most amazing thing. You don't have to take my word for it, don't take my word for it. Go listen to these testimonials. And I'm not here to try and convince you of a particular diet. I'm just here to point out that people have different levels of sensitivities. And when you're talking about insulin sensitivity, insulin resistances, cortisol domination, like all of these things, mitochondria dysfunction, they all have a lot to do with these really major diseases. And we don't have to have a diagnosis to be already having symptoms of high cortisol and insulin resistance, which so even if you're in your life and you're like, I feel like I really want to change. Like, I'm kind of tired of things being the way that they are. And let's say like you have weight in the midsection, you're like, or you have diabetes type 2 or prediabetes, you're like, I want to change something, Look at the carnivore diet. Look at these stories of people who are all the way on that side. If you keep going in the direction we're going in, in that resistance, we'll end up with these diseases because the body gives us symptoms. So like, even if you could be struggling with agitation, anxiety, irritation, with the symptoms of depression and dementia. So, I've not been able to get enough of these stories because I just find them fascinating. What's fascinating too, and it goes against everything we've been taught and believed to be. So like, with a lot of these stories, people are like, okay, I didn't know what to do, so I went with a vegan diet, or I went with a raw vegetable diet. And they'll do that for like years and years and years. And then they get to a point where like the disease still is there and they still have like no energy. They hit a wall and they're like, I never would have eaten meat again. I just, felt so horrible, didn't have anywhere else to turn, and I heard about carnivore diet, gave it a try, and never looked back. It's so beautiful. So I'm just here to make this video because like, you never know. You never know who's out there who wants something different. Me personally, like coming across the amino acids, like I've talked a lot about how like focusing on the amino acids, focusing on the protein, that's where serotonin, melatonin comes from. It's all about these healing pathways. Like that's where I came into this, was realizing I was nutrient deficient in my diet. I had skin issues. I was on the anxiety medication, and I was like, I need more amino and fatty acids. And that's why, I too thought that eating a lot of red meat was bad. And then I was like, I started to eat more and my skin improved so much. So you just never know until you try. And then again, like Dr. Anthony Chafee, like what a guy to stand against all the hate and to be the one to not only, just be a leading voice in the field and a guidance for other people, because you don't know how good you can feel until you make the change and you experiment for yourself. You don't know how much energy there is to gain from it, And I talk to a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends will be telling me about things that they're going through, and they want to know what I think about this supplement and this probiotic. And, I'm just like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't know why you're trying to spot treat what you could get through Mama Nature. Because when you eat these animal-based proteins, you are getting the full spectrum of amino and fatty acids. Full spectrum. You can't supplement. There's no supplement on the planet that is as intelligent as Mama Nature has designed the food to be. Like, she put everything in the perfect ratio, the copper, the iron, the B vitamins, the creatine, like everything that we are trying to supplement and spot treat is there in its full form. And you really see that when you listen to these people's stories. And like, honestly, when I'm listening to the stories, like, it makes me tear up, it makes me cry, because there's so many people struggling, like even with fertility. Fertility, I know a lot of women my age with endometriosis, PCOS, so many people struggling with all of this, all different kinds of things. The world is full of struggle right now, and it's not. I was saying about this the other day. They don't profit off of sickness. They profit off of confusion. They profit off of our lack of education, our lack of understanding. And I firmly believe that education is first, top priority. I would never have done, I'm hard to convince of things. I would never have tried to be eating more red meat if I didn't understand how the cell mechanics worked with that. So every cell membrane is a fat bilayer. So off the bat, I'm like, okay, everything I know about fat and being low fat, that's wrong. And then you learn about Alzheimer's dementia. A low fat diet increase your risk for Alzheimer's dementia because the brain's mostly made of fat. And then you go and look at the amino acids compared to plant compounds. And it's obviously the animal-based proteins are insanely superior in the amino acid profile. So for me, it wasn't a hard switch over because I went towards learning what the cell's made of. And I feel like you will never get confused because they got a doctor over here saying only eat meat. They got a doctor over here saying only eat plants, don't eat as much protein. And it's so confusing. I had a friend of mine send me a video the other day, and there was this doctor who was saying, do not increase your protein intake because it could increase insulin resistance. And the second sentence out of her mouth was, I have a hormone therapy clinic and a supplement line. So off the bat, I told my friend, I was like, if you see someone trying to outsource Mama Nature, you want to have red flags, because hormone therapy is our food. Supplement therapy is our food, And so what she was saying is the mechanics could be off. I put together, I think of the body as you could be eating, that's why I think people go towards a carnivore diet, because you really strip all the toxins that you possibly can out of the foods. All the plant defenses are gone, so it makes the nutrition a lot more bioavailable in that way. But the system could have a lag in it, and when I'm talking about the system, I'm talking about the body. So it could be the same thing as having a car, and let's say you have a car and it's sitting in the driveway and you haven't turned it on in so long, and machines, they're meant to move, turn on, move everything. I'm not a car mechanic, but it's healthy for the engine to be turned on, to have everything flow through, to just keep it moving. So it's like that with our body. When things become so resistant, it could possibly, shoveling all this food in, you don't exactly know, because there's so many factors. The body is so complex. Just like when you look at any type of cancer, it's so complex, these biochemical cascades. Even you could talk about eating more tryptophan in animal-based proteins. Tryptophan can break down into the kynurenine pathway. So the context of the diet is so important. So when I'm eating more protein, I'm going to also make sure that I'm in the sun and helping that tryptophan break down, helping it break down to serotonin, helping my body make melatonin. I'm probably going to go resistance train, because that can also help these biochemical pathways go towards a state of insulin sensitivity. So I want to keep that in mind and not be scared to eat more protein, which is the basis of life. Protein and fat, our bodies need that. And so anyway, just go search these people, listen to their stories. That's all I gotta say. I do love y'all so much. I wish you the best of luck. I just want to remind you that we don't see ourselves accurately when we look in the mirror. We are trillions and trillions of tiny little cells, tiny little factories that need so much energy and so much loving thoughts from you every single day. Thank you for doing this work for me. Thank you for helping my body heal and cleanse and be stronger and lighter. And You know, every night you go to sleep, the body is going through this deep, deep healing process. So I love you so much, and I'll catch you later. Good luck.